This is 2OF Entertainment.
Well, good day to you.
Good day to you, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah.
We're closing in on the end of the year here. It's getting ready for the season, and it's kind of cool this morning. But
Yeah, this
anyway,
year. Not as cold as you are in Canada. You're telling me before we started.
We have a very warm artist. We'll just call it that today.
Yeah.
So everybody's all cozied up and doing their artwork, and I think it's a great time of year for artists to really reflect on what they've been doing for the year, as well as get back in the studio if they've been busy with their art sales and actually doing some work. That tends to be with artists in the winter time. Where they can, they're doing studio work. But today we have Janet MacKay from I guess it's a place called Sharbot. What is it? Lake Sharbot, which is a little bit northern Ontario, just outside of Ottawa, Kingston area, north of that. And she's a graduate of McMaster University in fine art, and she's had a career in I guess in design and stuff with the government. And now, and since I think she said since 1989, she's been actually, or was it 1998? I think she's been 1998. She's been painting full time. And what painting she has ever been doing, amazing stuff. Her love of the environment and just the North Country, and she's found her own interpretation of what she loves to paint, and she want to share that with you today. And so we maybe can bring Janet in, and we'll just talk with her.
Yeah, pleasure to do that. I was a bit the little bit of blurb that I read before the show. She's a sculptor as well, so that should be really interesting.
She is a sculptor, and we're just going to concentrate on the paintings today. So we may have her come back. And we'll talk about why, a little bit why we're doing that. They're a little bit different.
Well, I'll bring Janet in, and then you guys can get on with the rest of the show.
Good.
So, hi, Janet.
Hello. Go ahead. Yeah. So you're.
I was just going to say, have a great show, and I'll see you at the end.
Okay. Thanks,
great.
David.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, good morning.
Hello from Sharbot Lake.
Sharbot Lake. That's how you pronounce that.
Sharbot Lake, yes.
Yeah, sounds like a beautiful place. It sounds like
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
And you've actually moved out there, I heard. Is that what you've done?
Yes. I've been cottaging and camping out here since I was a little kid, and then I bought a cottage here in 1995, and just moved out here permanently 3 years ago during COVID.
Oh yeah, well that'd been, I guess it's secluded. Is it really quite quiet in the winter there, in the fall?
Really quiet. All the cottages are gone and the park is closed up, and it's just us. This morning I was looking at the swans on the lake.
There you go. Yeah. I think our lakes are kind of frozen over a little bit now. They got a little stiff ice on them. We have some winter weather has arrived. Anyway, no, it's when I was looking at your images, there's some, it really gives me that warm feeling of you want to be there. Like it's those magic moments. Is that what you're kind of looking for? Those that leave that make memories, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, they are moments in my life that mean a lot to me. The environment. I love boats and in canoes in particular. I find their shapes very, very appealing and attractive. Right. And so I love the paddle. So you see a lot of the images are from my paddling trips, or just here right here at the lake.
Right. Yeah. And we're going to talk about and look at reflections. Like that is a complicated thing for a lot of people to actually do in a clear manner, like with clarity, to understand how ripples and waves work and how color sits and works with those rhythms that are created by an oar going in the water, for instance, or just the rhythm of the lake, and a
Right.
reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to get
Yeah.
David to start up our first image and we'll just go from there. Yeah. People can get an idea of what we're talking about. This one, for some reason, it has this feeling of Coca-Cola to me, and I don't know why.
It's probably the text and the colors.
It's just one of those things I looked at. I thought, oh, why do I want to have a Coca-Cola? I have no idea.
I've never been told that before.
Well, you've got the script writing, and I mean, they don't have like the duck trying to leave the water and things, but it's just the color of red, and I guess there's a flow to it, right? I just feel like
Right. Yeah.
and it also feels very Canadian. Like, and I looked at your work, and that thread seems to be throughout your work for some reason.
That's good. That's good.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
is that okay? Well,
A very Canadian style.
right. I think this is something like a lot of artists are searching for, is what is it you put in your work that people, if you don't put your name on the piece of work, people still know who you are. Like,
That's
if you were
right.
not to
And
put your name on it,
that's tough. That's tough to get to. It took me a long time to get there.
yeah.
But I studied when I lived in Ottawa. I grew up in Ottawa, and every time I could, I'd get down to the National Gallery. And of course, I loved the Group of Seven. So they really, when I was trying to find my style, I was trying to figure out what it is they did, especially Tom Thompson, that made it look so distinctly Canadian. And and I found that surprisingly enough, if you look closely, a lot of their shapes are outlined in black.
Okay.
And I think that's a Canadian sort of thing. It was very graphic at that time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes my work very Canadian looking. Plus, the black line really makes those colors pop.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it, it's a hard edge, that you're dealing
Yes.
with. But it's kind of I like the black line, but it still doesn't have that color between the lines look. You know what I mean? Like, it's not coloring book look.
Mhm.
The look of it, and for the lack of words, that's a bad analogy. But I'm just saying, you're trying to avoid that kind of look, yet it does separate two reds that are very similar almost in value. How do you separate these two? Now, some people like to soften that edge, and I mean, when you're painting in and out, the line is not always the same weight gesture.
Right.
It varies as you move in and out on that, but it does give you a structure to stay within. And it can feel a little stained glassy to me. It feels like, this
Definitely.
beautiful piece of stained glass laying like this one right here would be a beautiful window. Like, I mean, the bottom part of that, just the reflection of that would be gorgeous to look at. If sunlight coming through it, it would give you a nice feeling. It's
a technique you see often in Art Nouveau as well, which was another thing I really loved, was Art Nouveau. They use a lot of the black outline, and Art Nouveau really, it inspired my sculpture more than my painting, but I do like both.
Yeah. We're kind of not doing too much with the sculpture today. I think because we as artists sometimes live two different lives. I'll call it that way. And it's kind of like looking at how do we differentiate the different styles that we have through different mediums, right? So we will talk about, I think, in another series, another interview, we'll actually talk about sculpture. I it's just trying to figure, because it's more figurative, I guess, in nature, right? Is it a lot of your sculpture?
Yes,
And
mine
in
is,
bronze, and in bronze
or
as well.
whales.
Yeah, and bronze. So we'll
Yeah.
move on. But so here we are. We're a little more now. Today we're going through at least half the images are we're going through a lot of boats and the relationship
That's
of
right.
canoe and water and North
Yeah.
Country.
Yeah.
And how do you? And some of them will look similar, but how do you? I guess it's kind of like a series. Do you paint like that in a series of one right after the other, and you paint on one for a little bit and move to another one and develop a show? Is that how you kind of work?
Yeah. Well, this one is earlier than the other one that we just saw. The other one, you saw more of the boat. This you see a hint of a boat at the bottom. And I did go, I love color. And I was doing landscapes before, but when I saw the reflections and the colors from the boat, that really appealed to me. And we often go down east, down to Nova Scotia. And so I was down there taking pictures of boats whenever I could.
Yeah. Different type of boats.
Pardon?
They have a different type of boat down east, right?
Yes.
Then we have more of a lake boat in the interior Canada, where they're more of a coastal boat. Dories as such, being a smaller one, but just the making.
And fishing boats. I think this was a fishing boat.
Okay.
And on the bottom right, you see sort of those squiggles, and I think that's the rigging that you're seeing reflected down into the water.
Yeah. It creates a really beautiful abstraction, where you know what it is, but you don't know what it is, right? Unless you're, because the squiggles at the bottom could be just about anything, because it's broken up, because it's reflecting what's on the deck down below. So really, the point of the boat really is only at the top of the page. How big a canvas is this?
It's I think it's 36 by 48.
Oh, okay. So it's a fairly large piece. Yeah.
I like to paint big, because I find when I paint small, I spend as much time on a small, I end up going smaller brushes. So I like the big and powerful images.
No, it's good to be brave that way. So when you moved from Ottawa area, I mean, you were fairly established in Ottawa, were you not, before you moved out?
I was, my mother was born in Ottawa. I was born in Ottawa. I had my career in Ottawa, and I always thought I was the Ottawa girl and I would never leave. Yeah. But I was also, attached to Sharbot Lake since I was young, and I lived half the year here and half the year in Ottawa. It got to be too much, just too much work looking after two places. And whenever I was in Ottawa, I just wanted to go back to the lake. So we ended up moving here.
How did that affect how you, I guess, market and sell your work? Because you had an established market in Ottawa.
Yeah.
You did. Yeah. You had shows and opportunity where that lessens quite a bit when you go to Lake Country.
It sure does.
Yeah.
I had to totally rethink the way I market myself. In Ottawa, we do a couple of shows. My partner is also a painter and sculptor as well. And we would do a couple of shows outside the house, like later on you'll see the canoes, but the cottage show was really, really awesome place to sell. And then we'd have open houses afterwards and hand out invitations. And that marketing worked really, really, really well. And of course, out here, I just don't have, the walk by or even drive to market. So I've gone with galleries. And I still try to find, I really love the connection you make with a show. When a customer or a viewer makes that connection to your work, and you can see that they're going to the same place that you want them to go to, they're going to your happy place. Yeah. And when you make that connection. It's wonderful to me as an artist. When I'm painting in my studio here, I'm talking to myself. When I get to do a show, the viewers complete the conversation, and I love that. So
I think they see that, they see a connection of themselves and the location,
right.
the love of that
Yes.
space you're in, because they've either been there before or they'd be probably wanting to be as brave as you to move to the lake and leave their house in the city. And well, it really is. It's really in a major adjustment. You know, some of it's downsizing and those kind of things. But a lot of times, you know, cottages are seasonal as well, so they're hard to make them 4 seasons sometimes, and they are a lot of work to have a cottage and a home.
Yeah. Well, we ended up tearing the cottage I had here was just one step up from camping, so we tore it down and built a 4-season home, and so we're very lucky that we could do that.
I think you need that kind of commitment for what you want to do, but also the vision to, this is where I want to be as often as I can, because when you start finding all 4 seasons, they change at the lake. I anticipate it'll probably change how you're not going to see as much water. It's going to be frozen over. It's going to be. I do
miss that water in the wintertime, but those bright sunny days with all the snow, you know, that's pretty wonderful too.
We'll have to wait and see what your palette changes like in the winter when I see some winter work. Unless do you work mostly from photographs? Is that from photos that you?
I do, and actually, this picture here, this painting here, is an example of why I work from photographs. This is a result of one day I was sitting on the dock, and I was playing with a new digital camera, and by accident I just took a picture of the water, and it was just the water, nothing else. And when I looked at it, I thought, wow, I've never really looked at water that way before, because it captured all those patterns there. Whereas, you know, when we're sitting looking out at the water, it's a shimmer. It's constantly moving. Your eye can't capture those patterns.
Right.
And so this is what's happening with this. This is a earlier one, and I was just so intrigued with the patterns of the water, and I wasn't doing any of the shoreline at all, or any boats.
No, it's beautiful. Beautiful abstraction. You know what it is, but minimal visual, but it's still quite active. There's a nice glimmer of light bouncing on and off of it. So here we go. I think this is one of the only ones we have with actual people in a boat. In what we'll show today.
Yes, you know, the problem with people is I like having people in my paintings. I'd like to have their presence there. However, not everybody wants to have someone they don't know in a painting on their wall. So that can be problematic. Right. So I tend to do from the back, so you could imagine yourself. These are campers from across the lake. I noticed them paddling by early in the morning, so I ran down to the shore and asked them if they could come back and let me take a few photos of them. And then this is them making their quick getaway from the crazy lady taking pictures of them.
No, and I again, this color palette in the water in the foreground beneath the boat. So it's gorgeous, right? You just feel the nice rhythm of the lake. It's just soft and rolling.
Yeah. And with the lake is affecting the canoe as well, affecting the lighting on the canoe, you can see that it's somewhat dappled light that's coming through, so casting a shadow at the bow and brightness.
No, it gives it life to the boat as well. Like there's that bounce light that happens. It's really hard to get that if you're just doing plein air painting of it. You're painting for a different reason for painting it. You might get the gesture of the boat, the gesture of the water, but you're not going to get that your work is fairly realistic in nature, even though it has a black line holding it together. It has a realism aspect to it. And I use that word loosely, realism, because there's realism in one sense of a visual, then there's realism of the effect it gives you in the work. It gives you a feeling of realism that you want to be there. Whether it could be even abstract or a little bit off. So sometimes realism can be, it's a variable. It doesn't mean it has to be hyper realist in nature, but but the thing, it's important to get the figures right, and they're the right size for the right boat. And this is a smaller boat from maybe some of the other ones that you've been painting, from what I've seen. Do you have how big a boat do you have, your canoe? How long is that?
I think it's just, this one's mine's 16, but this is a beat up old canoe that. But you can see it's a little battle worn, but well loved.
Yeah.
My canoe is yellow. Actually, I got my canoe at the cottage show, and I traded a sculpture for a canoe. So that was pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I bought an old Eaton's canoe. Maybe it was an Eaton's canoe, it was a Sears canoe, heavy old brute, fiberglass brute. And I ended up giving to a friend for a bottle of whiskey. Just like,
well, he got a good deal, or you got a really good bottle.
I had it at the lake, and it wasn't being used at all. And I said, no.
Yeah.
At our lake where I am, it gets a little rough at times. So you either go first thing early in the morning, or later in the evening before dusk. Right. Otherwise, it's kind of always rolling waves. It's really tough canoeing on the lake. Really? Anyway, so I just said, no, we'll bypass the canoe. Anyway, we'll continue.
Well, we tend to use our kayaks more than our canoe because, we have a small lake. We don't get big waves, but when they just cut through the water quicker. Yeah. And I like it because I can go by myself. I can't manage a canoe by myself, but a kayak is great for that.
Yeah, the kayak is, it's a great, I guess, a transition for somebody that wants something, an individual can handle. They're light as well.
Yeah, very movable.
Yeah, canoes are challenging at the best of times. But here we go. This is
my canoe.
Yeah, this is your canoe. I can see that.
Yeah, she's a beauty. Her name is Tweety, but she's just gorgeous. She's a cedar strip canoe, and she is so bright and shiny.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful canoe. It's a beautiful canoe. And you bought that one though. You didn't make your own.
No, this is this I traded a sculpture for this.
Yeah,
this one.
Oh, good value.
Yeah.
So personalizing a boat, and I've been through, looking through this series. Now we're going to look at a series of pictures that you've painted of this boat, in different waters and times of year, a little bit as well, right?
Yeah.
What is the symbolism of the drapery?
Okay, this one, as I mentioned earlier, I like to see the human presence in my paintings. So the canoe itself indicates humans have been here or are here. And because I don't like, just because people don't like to have people in their paintings, the people are in the painting here, but in the form of their clothing. Okay. So this was the title piece of a series that started in 2019 called Skinny Dipping in Canada. And so it ended up being the title piece because it has the Canadian flag in it. And so I have the people there, and people wonder, where are those? What is that? Oh, those are clothes. Where are the people? And then it clicks. Oh, I know where they are. They're in the water somewhere.
Right.
So
Yeah. And
that's
gorgeous.
my way of personalizing it.
Yeah, and gorgeous water as well. It's just very defined, and people. It's sort of one of those the magic place where you kind of want to be. You want to go sit there and have a dip or a coffee, or just sit, put your feet
Yeah.
in the water, and the
Yeah.
canoe's at rest, and the people are out of the canoe. So it says a lot. Like, when you look at it, it looks simple, but you can read a lot of things into it. And I think that's the magic of this series that you worked on. And
Mhm.
we'll do another one of it. So this one's a
Yeah.
little.
So that's the same canoe. It looks smaller, but it's just the angle. But this is, you can see it's fresh and spring-like. Like even though, people say, don't you ever get tired of painting canoes? And I don't. I just find each one has a personality.
They're almost portrait-like, They're
That's
almost
right. Yeah.
So this boat is, glorified as in portraiture, really. It's just
Mhm.
it's a nice.
Yeah.
But whether you're painting the same flower and vase over and over again in a still life, it's the same kind of thing. Like, you find new reasons for doing those new things, whether the light changes or the weather changes or the environment
Mhm.
changes. That you may use that same device over and over again in your work because you like it, but you
Right.
personalize it and you give it a fresh view. But I mean, this one really does have a different feeling than the previous one. Even though it's similar
Mhm.
subject matter, and then understanding that other artists could do the same thing. I mean, it's just you think, oh, I'm bored with that image. Do you ever get bored with this image, like trying to say, or do you always figuring out how can I make it different, or find a different story in it? Is that part of the challenge?
Well, what? How I do this is I go out on a paddleboard or in my kayak, or I go out just in my bathing suit in the water. I take my canoe out and I photograph it, and she'll dance around, she'll twirl around. You see all sorts of different angles of her, and it depends on the wind and the patterns in the water. But
Right.
for every 100 shots I take, there's only a few that will make the cut, that just somehow has that character and the right patterning. I like the water not to be, well, if it's too ripply, you don't get those reflections. You just get, it's all shattered,
Yeah.
and it's just blue sky mostly.
Yeah. This one really gives me a feeling like the boat is securely tethered, with the anchor.
Mhm.
Where some of the other ones are a little looser, it wasn't defined as much with the rope. Where this one has a feeling of control, like it's not going to get away on you. Like it has that.
Mhm.
Though it's in maybe shallow water or in not very rough water, but I look for symbolisms, and I think sometimes those offer a subtle feeling. They add to the image as to why it is different than the previous one. You look for, because the one's got different type of clothing on it, which you
Yeah.
can, which is one of the things. The light changes, and the season maybe changing. The light changes when the
Right.
watercolor changes a little bit, right? But
Well, that's very true, because about a month ago, I had customers come in and they were torn between two canoe paintings, and one was tethered and the other's not. And they chose the untethered because that appealed to them, the untethering of the
Yeah.
canoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little subtle things, and you think, why didn't that piece, really motivate that person, maybe, or why they chose one over the other? And maybe there's
Mhm.
that subtle, just something as subtle as that is a psychological thing, probably more than anything. Like the freedom of the canoe and go anywhere you want to go and do those kind of things might have been controlled a little bit by it being tethered. So it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not that an artist, you should worry about it. You put in what you, what you
Yeah.
feel you have to do.
Yeah. And different pieces connect with different people.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
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 Have you had people say, "Can you make that a commission?" Say, "Can you make it a red canoe more so than your yellow canoe?"
Absolutely. And I do. I mean, I use my own canoe always now, but
Yeah.
I've painted so many red canoes and so many yellow canoes. I can easily figure out how to do a red canoe from a photo of a yellow canoe.
Right.
So no.
Yeah, 'cause that would change the whole feeling in this if you were to put a red canoe here, because the complementaries are bang on, like the red and green, and it would change the focus of everything. Again, just with the color
Yeah.
would be maybe even more Canada feeling than this one feels, right?
Well, I tend to, if it's when I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to make it yellow or red, if there's a lot of green, I tend to go with yellow.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of blue, I tend to go with red because they just somehow, I
Yeah,
don't know,
one's a
more
warmer
comfort.
palette and one's a cooler palette, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
they go
yeah.
together. So this one's a fall image.
It is. It's from a different lake, and that was a fun day. We actually, it wasn't fun for my partner. He's wonderful. He's so supportive of my work.
Yeah.
But we took our kayaks out to this lake. It's a beautiful lake, very rocky, and the colors were fantastic. So we both had our kayaks, and he towed this canoe behind his kayak for me, and I took pictures of it.
Those are your clothes, right? That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, I was
Oh,
not
you're
quite
not
that
the
bold.
skinny. You're
I'm
not
not.
the skinny dippers. Yeah.
No, I'm not the nudist kayaker. No.
Oh, okay.
But no, those are my clothes, but those weren't the ones I was wearing that day. But yeah, I love the richness of the. It's like a tapestry that day,
Yeah.
and of this, just the way the light was at this particular time, um, and it was kind of shallow water too, so there was a lot of uh, things floating in the water and lily pads and bracken and things like that, seaweed.
Yeah.
Um, it just made for different action in the water.
Yeah. And it does convey a different feeling than the previous two that we've looked at. Even though it's a
Mhm.
seasonal change, the boat is different. I mean, it has these beautiful little light scratches that are on its bow, right? Those
Yeah,
little
yeah,
flickerings of light, which give a life to that boat. Uh,
that's right. How
yeah.
they affect each other. The water affects the canoe, and the canoe affects the water. Yeah,
Find the
it's
find the
really.
reflection really. It puts the two together. They belong together with the reflection. Otherwise, it's like boat water, right? And you kind of look at it where this one really are the merging the two together, right? They're saying I belong here,
Mhm.
right? This is my moment, and the boat is in beautiful light. Yeah. So
Yeah.
does this one have little rock outcroppings coming out of the water in places as well? Is it that shallow that there are rocks sticking out of the water in that?
It's a very rocky lake. It's a beautiful lake. It's just north of here. It's called Crotch Lake, and it's got a lot of little inlets and coves. So there's sheltered
Beautiful.
areas, which is lovely for paddling about, and lots of outcroppings. Yeah, it's very rocky lake,
Yeah. So it's
and quite
definitely not your
beautiful.
motorboat lake. But
Oh, well, this little section is quite shallow, but for the
yeah,
most part, it is very deep.
yeah.
Um,
Well, it's part of that shield
but
country. It's beautiful in the shield
it
country.
is. It is. And it's close to my heart, that this country.
Yeah. No. Well, it's nice to get it. It may be inspired by, I guess we'll call it the Group of Seven, but it's different, and it's really difficult to go into that northern country in Ontario and Quebec and paint that area and be your own artist, see your own vision with your own brush. Otherwise, you're painting a Tom Thompson or Harris or something, and that style has been done over and over again. And you might be nice to replicate that and try it, but when you go into that country, you get that inspired feeling that I've got to paint this.
Mhm.
And you say, how do
Yeah.
I stay away from what has been done and find my own road, right? And I think you found a great way of doing it in your own way. even though inspired by the Group of Seven. I mean,
well, yeah, when I was looking for my style, I actually, my mom loved that. I copied a Tom Thompson, a little Tom Thompson, a Jack Pine or something like that, because by copying it, I actually saw what he was doing. And of course, I don't want to copy Tom Thompson, but it helped me learn. And I really recommend that for someone who's searching for what style they like and want to pursue, is look at somebody else's work that you really like. Copy it. Don't sell it, but copy it as an exercise. And it really makes you focus in on what they're actually doing.
It does, yeah, and you learn how they fold their colors together and how design the page. I mean, you were a designer by trade as well, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So you understand that scale becomes a big issue with work. This one's right a long, narrow piece. And congratulations on your win. You're one of the
thank you.
top winners in Arts is the Great Canadian Art Show, and this was the magic piece that got our jury's heart. I mean, it really was beautiful.
Well, it seemed to be a really good year to bring back the Canadian flag into my paintings.
What did you call this? What was this?
This one's called Showing My Colors, which I love the title because it is showing my colors. It's showing, I am a true Canadian. I love my country. I love everything about my country. And I'm glad the jury liked it as well.
I think they loved it, and they loved the title. They loved how it all when those things come together, like, sometimes you don't want corny titles to go with your. I mean, it sounds cute to name stuff sometimes, but got puns intended and unintended and different things within a title. Yeah. But sometimes you need to help people focus on in a different way, and they see the flag, but they see it's Canadian, but with your title, it kind of pulls it together a little bit. And this is
tricky finding titles, isn't it? Like to find a good title, especially when you paint so many canoes. There's only so much, but I was very
canoe 3. I think that's why they did that in the 60s. It was number 1 white, number 2 white. They would just get it a number. Don't read any more into it than that. But yours has definitely a different feeling about it. Now, this one's the one that's got blue water in it. Well, we just talked about that right now. And the canoe looks a little bit, the color change from the front to the back, quite different. Some people would say, let's just make it all the same color from one side to the other, but you lose the light, the focus. One part of the boat's in light, the other part's in a different kind of light. A little better reflection on one side, and you kind of go, wow. And how long and narrow is this? Is a long, narrow piece. How big a
that one is 20 high and 60 wide.
Yeah. Beautiful piece. Is this one sold? Did this one sell yet?
No, it's actually it's in a gallery in Hamilton right now.
Gallery in Hamilton. What's the name of the gallery? It's
Crown and Press. Crown and Press.
There you go. Anybody?
That was the first gallery I went with.
Yeah.
I went to the Artist Project and met Julia Feenstra, who is the artist who owns Crown and Press, and she was interested in she was opening up a gallery, and she asked if I would join them. So I'm very happy to be able to go down to Hamilton, where I got my fine arts degree, and visit every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I think if anybody's interested in that, definitely contact the gallery and look at their website and look at your work there.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful piece. Now we're moved into the landscape aspects now. That's
right.
There might be one more canoe piece in the piece, but there's a kayak, I think, way in the background there a little bit. So the canoe, your connection to the water is still there, but this is really now taken over. The shield country becomes. Now, is this, you paint from just Ontario or Quebec, or are you across Canada? That
No, this we went across Canada about 10 years ago, and this is near Telegraph Cove. We always take our kayaks wherever we go, and this is so this is BC.
in BC, in British Columbia.
And, yeah. So I used to complain to my partner Mitchell that I'm always photographing for my paintings, and he kept on photobombing. And then I realized, you know what? He looks really good in this painting. He gives you somewhere, he gives the human presence there that I like. He adds to the reflections. He's small enough and distant enough that it could be anybody. And so, it just, your eye is drawn there, and it helps move your eye through the painting. Yeah. So now I'm always saying, come on, catch up, get into my photos.
Well, you can always photograph them and put them in. I mean, really.
I can, but
but it's subtle, and it's really about the landscape, but the enjoyment of it. I get that
That's
feeling
right.
there. So you dragged the kayak along with you when you went across the country?
Yes, they're on the roof of the car. Yeah, and a little trailer behind us, and it was great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those camping days. Yeah.
Yep. So this is another trip, but this is to Newfoundland.
Oh, okay.
And this was in 2019. We went to Newfoundland, and this was our destination. It's a little town called Burlington. They were having a music festival, and so we went to that musical festival. And this is just the view to the left of the music stage. I thought, what a magical place to go listen to Newfoundland music.
Yeah.
And all the rocks there. This is not so much about the reflections here as the rocks and
the rocks have a different life to them, and they change with the light. Like it's, I haven't been to Newfoundland yet. It's on my bucket list to do, but I think it's one of those things. It's really different than rock outcroppings in BC, which is on the other side of our country. So they're really quite different, the two. Almost
you're quite rounded.
Right. They're not as sharp.
They're softer. Yeah, much softer.
And you get into the shield country where you live right now, it's a little sharper granite, sharper rocks. Like you said, these are water-worn rocks on the shore.
Yeah, really old.
Yeah.
And then the water, the tide goes in and out, which affects the coloring too,
right,
of the rocks. So I think the orangey rocks tend to get the water more than the gray rocks.
Yeah, and I think there's the different kind of minerals, that affect the rock, that are color and different things that can happen. But
so this one's from Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And it's an area called 100 Wild Islands, and it's really interesting in that there's these. You could tell the landmass used to go further out, then it started eroding in fingers, and then in between the fingers. So you have these little series of islands going out into the ocean, and they're fairly close together. Which is, the ocean can be really rough for kayaking, but when you have the islands close together like that, you can always find a sheltered side.
So is this northern Nova Scotia? Like, is this a little bit north?
Yes, it's east. It's east of Halifax.
Okay, east of
about an hour and a half.
Yeah. Okay.
So northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and each of those little islands, we have to go back because we were only there for 2 days, and then the fog came in and we couldn't see anything. But
there goes the color.
That's right. Well, they can't see anything at all.
Yeah, when somebody gets lost in their color, I do a workshop. I always try to get them to introduce a little gray into their work. The fog would definitely be a little gray into their work. Looking at neutrality as far as the gray goes, rather than everything being vibrant. And I think it's, this is a very cool palette on this one, like blue being a dominant piece in this work, yet it still has, there's still some warmth in it. Like, and I think it's that rocks in there, the little sand showing up on the shoreline a little bit. And I think it, and I think the tidal thing really is a hard thing to understand and adjust to if you're from the prairies. You're going to go, we don't get tides like that. We don't, we get water moving around, but on the coastal areas there, especially in the East Coast, the tides move dramatically in PEI and especially in, Nova Scotia on the shore. So at one point you'll be able to go out, you can walk out a long, long way on the shore, but you better hoof her back because it's going to come back up.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's one thing we learned when we went out, took our kayaks out to the West Coast, and we'd never been on the sea before. And so we decided we were going to, before we went out on the sea, we were going to we got someone to teach us how to kayak on the ocean.
On the ocean, yeah.
So he taught us how to self-rescue, and he taught us how to read the charts and the maps, and that was really, really helpful. But oh my God, if you get caught going against the tide in some places, it's scary because there are times I thought I wasn't going to get back.
Oh dear,
yeah.
Well, I've been on the ferry in BC and going to the island, and there are people on sailboards behind the ferry out in that ocean, like with a wetsuit on. It's just like miles away from the shore, like in the middle of the ocean, and with a wetsuit on a sailboard. I mean, oh my gosh, like unbelievable. And they're like the ferry boat is going across.
A sailboard, not a paddleboard. It was sailboard.
It'd be a sailboard, yeah. But it's still, if you lose your energy, you got to be strong to be able to have that. You can't be just unfit. There's no resting. Like there's no idle time. You got to, And I thought something big might come up and gobble you, thinking that you're a seal or something. And I don't know. I think maybe you're in a black wetsuit. I don't know, in the ocean.
I think maybe I'll stick to a kayak.
I think and I've seen kayaks out on there too, and they're the same kind of thing, though. But it's still a small little boat in the very large body of water.
Well, I never go far from shore because I love the shore. That's when I'm out there. The kayaks are my way of seeing the shore from the water. So
we're back in Ontario here, right? We're back in Ontario.
We are. That's that same lake, Crotch Lake, where I was saying my partner towed my canoe around for me. This is just he gets brownie points for that for sure.
You need a pool boy. That's what I need, and you got the lake boy, and he can help you do that. And awesome.
Yes, that's right.
It's great when your partner is supportive of what you do. I mean, it's really an important thing. It frees you up mentally as well, that you can go ahead and produce work, and it's going to be loved one way or the other. And encouragement. Sometimes there's too much encouragement. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can I be? Say no. Let me decide. But it's nice to have that support that way.
Yeah, definitely. Although sometimes he doesn't want me to sell things because he likes them too much. So.
Oh yeah. Well, tell him to open his wallet up, and then you can.
Exactly.
I know what it's like. Yeah, he's paying things out of the same bank account. I don't know.
Well, anyway. This one actually won the award of technical excellence in the Society for Canadian Artists a couple of years ago. And so I really did love this one. I loved that spot of red in the foreground and in the back. And it's just it's
they
not
have that
much
connection. It takes your eye to the back of the page, right? That red thing. So does that become a planting a little bit? Where am I going to put some of those? Turner used to do that. John Turner. Like, it was like he'd put a dot of red in his paintings in certain places on show day. He'd come in and do the final varnishing and glazing, and he'd add the touch of red in the right spot. And being a senior artist, he had the last rights. And I know that from reading with Constable, which used to show at the same shows. But Turner had last color rights. He could go in and actually add that dot of red where he wanted that nice fresh red in his.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, little things that used to go on in the background that nobody knew about.
Right.
I don't know where I read that somewhere in some kind of documentary, but it, understanding that just the right amount, not too much, right? When you say, how do I sting the painting? How do I take people to another section, even though the red might not be there specifically, to take it from somewhere else and say, that tree, I'm going to put it there. You can move trees. You don't need to paint them exactly as they are. It's nice to have that. I love the transition of water, though, on the right side, transitioning into the light, into that pool of light in the middle. Bottom part. It's a nice transition between the rock and the foreground, and the trees kind of reflect in two parallel lines coming down without all the foliage showing, right? There's a simplicity and a believability of understanding reflections, how they blend together and how they change. This one's quite a still pond area, right? This little.
That's right. Yeah,
it's a lot of ripples. I could see it becoming quite confusing if it had too much texture going on. So it's a nice balance of the sky and that calm piece in the middle between. So it's a good
the busy and calm.
Yeah, it gives you a lot. The kayak on the water.
So this again is from my favorite. This is my kayak. This is our picnic spot on that rocky lake we were just talking about with the Canadian Shield. We always try to find an island to have our picnic on. And, I guess, I took Mitchell's kayak out. It wasn't helping any. So
there's a kayak in the background there. I see one in the water.
It's a canoe back there. This fellow was fishing. Yeah. It was a really pretty day with the clouds.
Yeah, I can't believe somebody else was on your lake. Like that, because there, like you said, there's so many inlets and outlets on these things that you could be quite privatized for. You don't bump into anybody. In the North Country,
for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
and the water. The water is a lovely balance of the rock and the water in there, and the little sting of red canoe.
Yeah, just to add to it. So this is my final piece, and I just recently did it. It's from another lake nearby, and I called this one My Happy Place. It was one of those ones I didn't know what to call it, because I thought, could call it Artist at Work, or I could call it Self-Portrait, but I called it My Happy Place because this is where I'm happiest. I'm not sure. It's a toss-up.
Yeah. Do you actually do any plein air painting at all, like with watercolor?
No, I don't. I don't, because I like doing water, and I like it's too hard to catch the water. It changes too fast, and I find the light. I'm a slow painter, and the light changes too quickly for me. So it's a toss up between where I'm happier, whether I'm being out on the lake or in the studio painting my trip out on the.
In the winter, lake. Painting a summer image or a fall image, it does take you to that so-called happy place, right? Your studio's warm, and you're inside, and you're painting on a lot of color. Where outside it's kind of gray and white, at a general
Yeah.
look. You've got some
Mhm.
conifer trees as well, but I mean, just saying generally it's a bland palette for the winter, kind of
Mhm.
a dormant stage, which is beautiful in itself with the
It
light
is.
happen. But this one's got a lot of color. Well, it's
Yeah.
been great. I mean, it's great conversation. I mean, we could have been talking about your art for a long time about all the different things that go on, but I love that people can look at your work and
Mhm.
enjoy it. Reach out for sure. Reach out and talk to your galleries and your people that look at your work. And Artists in Canada will show some of your work in this next coming week, and it'll always be there.
Wonderful.
And I think if David,
Wonderful.
we'll bring David back in if he's there, and we'll see what's going on. But there he is.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Slowly.
that if I was a proud owner of one of your paintings, I'd be in a happy place every day.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, I should put my waders on and just go out and have a look around. Wonderful.
Well,
Where are you, David, right now? Where do you live?
I'm living in the Netherlands,
Oh, lovely.
or as we call
Lovely.
it here, the Neverlands, because it goes on forever.
the Never Land.
The Neverlands, yeah.
Lives
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Well, it's beautiful in itself, the Netherlands. Just for what it has, and I think it's.
Well, if you're looking for water, this is the place to come. We're surrounded with it everywhere. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Literally-
canals too.
literally I can look out of my window. I have a sort of an artificial canal just outside the house where we live. We're on the edge of a wood. All right around the wood is all water. So I look at every
Sounds
day.
lovely.
Ducks. Yeah, they don't. You can't sail on it because everything is, or kayak on it or whatever, because the bridges are way too low. It's not meant for that. But it's it's very pleasing. So I
Sounds wonderful.
I find water also very which was always looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
very
that's
soothing. I think water.
Soothing. Yeah.
Yeah, Janet. The $64,000 question as such. If I was to go into one of these galleries and purchase one of your wonderful paintings, could we get an idea of sort of the price ranges that they'd be in?
I paint fairly large, so between $3,000 and $5,000 is about
Canadian dollars.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's one of the first gallery I went to was it's the Crown and Press in Hamilton, and what's nice about that is it makes my art accessible because every piece of art that comes into their gallery, they photograph and they sell prints of. So for people who want something a little cheaper, but they really like the work or they want to work up to it, they can get prints from Crown and Press in Hamilton. I also have my work at Galerie d'Art de Petit Bonheur in Melbay in Quebec. It's one of my favorite galleries of all time. I've been going there for years, and I'm really pleased to be able to sell through them. And I just had one out in Vermeer, but they've closed shop. So I'm in the process of looking for another. And of course, people can come here to our studio.
And
we have signs.
Through the website and reach you. Yeah,
That's
the
right.
the links will be on the show. They can get a hold of your website.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, David, for hosting us today. I appreciate it very much.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure as ever. I mean, you take me to a world of art, and it's always an absolute pleasure to see so many different and various artists.
Yeah.
So, and they're all Canadian. Hey, who knew they'd all be Canadian?
Yeah, from coast to coast. So we encourage people to, and we do keep records of all these all the shows, previous shows, and we're closing in the end of our third season. So it's going to be brand new year.
Yeah.
So.
Brand new year. Yeah. For the channel, it'll be year 5. I mean, it's just flown by. So
going by good. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much, Janet, for joining us.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As Paul said, there is, a complete collection going back over the last 3 years available on the website site. My brother's teeth in today. And if you're interested in not just Janet but other Canadian artists, you could spend your every weekend in the winter finding something new and great to look at.
You bet.
But thank you, Janet, for being with us today. Thank you, Paul, as ever. Until next week, which I hope I won't be so drunk and I can talk better. But there you go.
Yes, we have another good artist that's coming up next week as well. Quite a phenomenal artist, actually. Beautiful stuff as well.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.